This is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel and bringing the Shir through the American Kabbalah Networks. This is Kabbalah for America. So here we come over on page Kaf Tes in the Matak Midavash in the Parsha of the week, which is Parshat Chaisara, and this is the 5th day, which is the day of Hod. We're down at the bottom, actually, of this page, and we're going to get into the some subjects that are very interesting to me. And let's try to understand what's going on. Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yossi, Chava Ozler, Rabbi Tiveria to Lod. They were traveling from Tiveria to Lod. I'm a Rabbi Yitzchak, the Rabbi Yossi. Tavanu, I'm really amazed about this. Al-Halku Rosh of the Bilaam, this evil person, Bilaam. Let's think back to Bilaam. Tamani ala koach agolu shahoya the Bilaam Arosha. How did he have such tremendous amount of power? The call over the Halku Rasha, and so he comes and says everything that this person did. Hava Besitra the Bisava was from the side of Tuma. Shakal Masav shall osa Rasha hoy mitzad the Tuma. V'hochu ulifnim razachada. So now we can learn one particular important secret. So he says the call zini the chashaya the almo kulhu miskatrin v'nafkim mahahu nachash kadmoni. Shekol mini kashavim, all the different kinds of wizardry and witchcraft. Sheba'olam kulam mukusharim, all of them are tied v'yotzim and develop out of the Nachash HaKadmoni who seduced Chava. What was the seduction? Physicality. To know what it's like to feel taiva, lust, and all the bad things that come with it. That's the Nachash. The Ihu Ruach Mis'ava B'Zuhamishu Ruach, it's actually a Ruach, it's a breath, it's an atmosphere of Tuma, Amuzuhemis, which has the ability to be able to poison a person. Begin Kach Kol Charshin the Alma Ikrim Al Shemadah. So therefore, all of the witches, all of the wizards in the world are called by the name the Chashim. It comes from the word Nachash. The Vicha V'Kol Amakashvin, Amakshefim. So they're all called after this original snake. And then all of the wizardry, all of the witchcraft in the world comes from that side of the snake. So he who follows himself after Kishuf and he wants to be a witch, who nitma al yado, he himself will become tome as a result of being involved in it. Below od, not just that though. Ela deboy lebista avo. Below od ela misha wrote shatzliach masa v'kishav. It's not just enough that you become tome as a result of doing this. Biyadu tzarach, that he wants to have this, he wants to be able to use it. Tzarach dechila the tome is atzmok. He has to first go and make himself tome. So he could bring that atmosphere, that flow of breath of Tuma. Just like Bilaam Arasha, he did this. So because we learned already. Barnash, the way that a person arouses himself and wants to get himself excited. Barnash hochi nami am shekalei melaela. Shahav the mando ka'ayin shmis oracha adan the mata. So down here in this world, us, the way that we want to arouse ourselves. Kahu mam shekal atzmi lamala. So it also pours down from up above. What does this mean? The visha adam hu kli muchan the kabaruach tahar, because we are actually all mankind are a vessel that was originally created to be able to pick up that which is tahor. Im yirtza o as ruach atuma, whether or not the person wants tahara or tuma. Ihu isar b'sitra kedusha am shekalech kedusha mila'ele v'iskadesh. So if the person, he says, im hu misora melamat, if a person awakens himself from down below, mitzad the kedusha, from the side of kedusha, because he's able, if he wants Kedusha, he's able to pull this down, make a connection with up above, and pull this down onto himself and become more Kadosh. But if the person wants to really be aroused in taivas, that's really what the person cares about, and then he'll get all the opportunities. But he says an atmosphere or a breath of tuma will come on this person. He brings the ruach atuma onto himself, and he will make himself tam. Because it's written about what we learned previously. So we learned this previously. He says, Asi barnash is the ava. Person wants to make himself impure, to do things which are wrong. Misa'avinle. And we give him opportunities and make all kinds of opportunities to do this. So they make him tame. So therefore a person wants to get himself involved in witchcraft. He has to do actions down below that will make him tame. So then the tuma, the actual breath, the actual atmosphere, I'm searching for words here for this word ruach, the wind, the breath, the scent of tuma comes onto this person. Begin kahahu rasha the Bilaam. So let's look at Bilaam now. You said looking at him. The Bilaam harasha. Bilaam, what did he have to do? Begin the So in order to be able to make contact with the original nachashi law, he says the interior, the benim is the nachash, the what is it? The template for witchcraft. Because why did he do this? He wanted to do this in order to bring this ruach of tuma menachash elya. So he make himself tame every single night with his female donkey. Over the ishtas, and he dealt with her as if he was her husband. So he said, the begin is ta'ava. Why did he do this? To make himself tame. And bring this ruach of tuma onto himself. In order to make himself tame. In order to be able to bring upon himself this ruach of tuma. So this means like this. By making a yichud, and he's talking about what we understand it to be, with the donkey. Yichud shall adam belial. He caused then a yichud of the man who has no ability to be able to rise. He's called the adam belial hasamach mem. So we understand that yichudim reproduce. They produce new found energies. Here is the energy being produced from the samach mem. She is yached im bazugo, and he makes this possible for the samach mem to make a yichud with his wife. She's called zugo esha zununim, and then her name, the lamed, which we pronounce plonis. Hatameya shehi im hachamorim. She is the mother of physicality. Chamorim is also the word for donkey. V'geden avid chershoy b'ovadoy. V'koach yichud asa k'shavim u'masav. And through this yichud that he was doing, he was able to get a hold of the energy of Tuma and do all the things he does. It says, V'sherusa de'ovadoy v'chavadnatel nachash me'inin chivyin v'kater le'kamei. So how, in fact, did Bilaam do his witchcraft? But the first thing he did, he would take one nachash from a bunch of other nachashim. And he tied it in front of him. I don't know exactly what that means that he tied it, but he tied it up in front of him. Did he tie it to himself? I don't know. But so he would do this action in order to be able to pull into his thinking apparatus that is the actual deeds of witchcraft, just through using the power of the upper nachash. So we take a living stake. This is what it sounds like to me. he would tie it up in front of him, and he would use this as a form to be able, like an idol or maybe some kind of transmission source, to be able to reach the upper Nachash. But before he could do this, that is the original Nachash, before he could do this, he had to make himself so tremendously tamei. So what happened is Balko es Rosho v'yotzia otzia es Lashona. So he broke through the head of the snake. V'natal isbin yidin, and then he would say, it was a little bit more, and brought out its tongue. So he went through the fangs into the tongue. V'natal isbin yidin, then he would take certain known plants. V'oki kula v'ave b'nei katarta chada. So he would take this, which he said he split the skull, he took this tongue out, and he took some herbs, they mixed them all together. V'lokach asavim yuduim, so there were some certain spices that he used, that were yuduim lo, haru'uyim the maisa hahuvas, that really help you make witchcraft. V'saraf es kulam, and he burnt them all together. V'os behem ketores achas lahaktir ketores la'nachash, and he made out of all of these things a ketores, an incense. And he would light that incense, and he would present it as an offering before the real Nachash, the big-time Nachash. The Vasa de Nata Resha Dahaku Chivya. So after he took the head of that snake, Obazile la Arba Citrin, Matuk, Vachar Kach Lokach Rosho Shal Osach Nachash. After that, he took the head of that serpent. Baka osel the dalach halokim, and he split it into 4 different parts. Kedei lahamshik koach dalad chayus hatameus shebemerkava shel hanachash. Now let's just go over this a little bit because it's not something I'm particularly familiar with. So he took the head of the snake. This is all part of the ritual that he did. Also the dalach halokim, and he put it into 4 different portions. And what did he do with that? To be kedei lahamshik koach dalad chayus hatameus. Now we have 4 chayos. That is, you have the lion, the ox, the eagle, and the man. Here he says on the other side you have the same thing. Kedei lahamshik koach dalad chayus hatameus shebemerkavdo shel hanachash, because the nachash has its own transportation system. And then now he has this all together, he makes another kataris. And he makes a circle. Also eagle, echad, sivivoisav, all around himself. In order to gather together v'la'asaf, in order to draw all of these bad spirits into the circle. Then he had certain specific chants that he would do, and other different actions. Because the Tuma also has names. He would call out these names and knew how to do that. And he did other deeds. And he did this and continued to do it until he actually had the Ruch of Tuma dwell on him. All different kinds of evil spirit. So then these evil spirits would now come and they would tell him what he needed to know. And he was able to do the different deeds that he had to do. And he used these evil spirits that now he has gathered together to actually affect Masav Haroim, the evil things that he wanted to do. And it all happened but what they knew, according to the way they knew Mitzad Osa Nachash Rakia, that Nachash, which he calls the Nachash of the heavens, So this also, he's saying, coming to different places. He said that I didn't learn this. He said La'el and Dav Kuf Kaf Hey Sofam and Aleph. It gives you an explanation of what those the Nachash of the Rakia can do. That is, now he wants to explain. Ratzon Lomar Ki Kochos Hatachtonim Shehem Hashedim Hamizgalmim Ba'avir. So he says, let me go over this a little bit more. The power that comes from the lower forces, which are what? They are Shadim, Hamizgalmim, that become physical, Ba'avir, in the air, Moshkim Kochos HaKochavim, these Shadim, they are able to pull the powers of the stars. V'hakochim b'besod hatanim po'alim lamata. So this is, I can translate. I don't know what it is, and I'd like to, but I don't right now. So he said, v'hakochim b'sod hatanim. Tanim is another word for snakes. So the stars, there is some concept of how the energy flows in a snake-like way. Po'alim lamata, they are able to make the energy and the actions happen down below. V'kulim yonkim kocham machanachash elyon. So all of this process, which I think I would read it again just for familiarity, going to where it says Ritzon Lomar. He said, Ki kochos atachtonim shehem chas hashedim. So these are words that I can translate but not know the concepts. So he said the kochos of the lower worlds. He says, which are the shadim who mizgolim, it's just goyim, like they become some kind of physical element, ba'avir, in the air of this lower world. Moshkim kochos hakochavim, they're able to pull to themselves the powers of the stars. Now understand, the powers of stars has to do with the energy that moves them, that has them in a sync in a certain way around the planet Earth. That energy is what we are talking about. They're able to type it, to patch into that energy. Ba'avir moshkim kochos hakochavim. V'hakochim b'besod hatanim po'alim lamata. So in the secret of the snake, it causes them to do their actions down below. V'kulim yonkin kocham menachash elyon. And all of this energy comes from the original serpent. V'amashabilim mitaman ismashach ba'ovadoy v'char shoy. So let's see what the Matuk translates, and he says like this. Misham, from this place, we're putting all of this tumah together. Himshech od b'masav, he was able to continue on with the things that he did, v'chshafav, and his evil, his witchcraft. Ad shehemshech alav ruach menachash kadmoni, until he ultimately gets to the real tumah. That's the tumah of the Nachash HaKadmoni. And from here we see what's sort of a little bit if you can tap in, this is my words, but if you could tap in to the ruach that comes from the original Nachash, and then you would know all the ideas that would come with witchcraft. And in what is it? Because Kasamin times, it's another kind of witchcraft, but it's different kinds of enchantments. The begin kach ksiv, and for this reason it's written, v'holok b'pam l'kras nechashim. So he went from times to call the nechashim, the snakes. Pirish nechashim vadai. It really is the snakes. Shahim shekalav ruach menachash kadmoni, because he was able to bring down himself and reach that horrible yichud with the Nachash HaKadmoni. V'yikra v'sharsha misavusa ichu kama de'itma. So the ikar, the real root, v'shorish. A tumasa, where did he get his tumah from? Choyu kamosha amarna, like we said, shaba al asono, because he lived with his donkey. Levasha sherusa the kula lav ihu ala benachash. Matuk translates. V'achakach haschalas kala kishuv So as you look at all of the things, if you were like me and you were in the houses of many Cuban santeros, you get an idea now of what you really need if you're going to make that work. This is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. This is the American Kabbalah Network.